you know you're in that unity consciousness, right? Like people listening to this because they're on their spiritual path.
The unity experience became really nice when it was there. There is a lot more freedom. You're not identified with stuff that's happening on the outside. Then there's bliss there, constant bliss. You have access to more light. It's knowing you're not the small self. So the Eva and her life story is so, it's so freeing.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. Today, I sit down with world-renowned spiritual teacher Eva Müller to explore the secrets of unity consciousness and what it really means to dissolve the illusion of separation and live from that deeper place of oneness. If this conversation speaks to your heart, make sure to hammer that subscribe button and click the bell so that you never miss an episode. And don't forget to join us live in person this September at the Awakened Leaders Summit. I am so excited about the lineup that are coming together to create an ecosystem of love. Guys, let's dive in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure. So, funny story. I listen to a lot of YouTube when I'm working out in the morning. After I have my meditation, I go either for a run or go downstairs and work out. And I have a separate YouTube account that is just strictly for my workout so that my algorithm doesn't get messed up. So it's all like motivational type of positive content, mostly faceless accounts, but every time I go into that account, it's funny because I don't really listen to like spiritual lectures or spiritual material when I go into that. It's more or less like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mulligan Brothers or like Eric Thomas motivational videos, but it's strictly that. And every time I go into that, your commercial or your advertising comes on every time. And it's, hello, I'm Eva. And like, I'm like every time. And so like, all right, I finally got the
That's
hint and I was like,
interesting.
yeah, right. And I finally got the hint and I was like, okay, let me just check her out. Let's see what she's doing, what her work is, what does it entail? And then I watched a couple of your videos and I was like, all right, let's reach out and try to connect. So here we are.
Yeah. Amazing that this ad found you, and thank you very much for reaching out and having me on.
It's not just one ad. It's like every time I watch a video, like every time it would not stop. I'm like, she must be investing millions and millions of dollars into the algorithm because it is on every video, it's so funny how things work. It's crazy. And there's
Well, it
nothing
seems like the person who is doing that for me does a really good job.
Yeah,
Because I know
might want to give them a
not,
raise
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%. But then on my spiritual YouTube profile, nothing.
It's not coming up.
Nothing.
Okay.
Not at all. Right. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's funny. Maybe your market, your target market's off a little bit.
It could be also. Or not, because
Probably.
I'm here, right?
Right.
You have a spiritual podcast.
Maybe. So yeah, I wanted to find out more about you. So you were a law student, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At one
Yeah,
point,
I
and now
studied
you're
law.
doing
Mm-hmm.
spiritual work. How did that, I mean, growing up, just give me some context, because I watched you talk about energy healing and things of that nature, and then you were a law student before that. What did that look like for you? Were you into energy work prior? Were your religious beliefs similar to many of ours that are, in the Christian faith? Were you a Christian? I'm not projecting any of that on you, but like, what did it look like for you growing up?
I mean, my life was very normal. I wasn't specifically raised Christian or any other religion. I mean, we went to church every now and then, but that's really it. So more casual, more because of traditions. And I wasn't doing any energy work. I mean, I went to healers sometimes myself, just when I had phases in my life where I felt I needed help to overcome them. And this was just the area where I felt the most comfortable to going to energy healers. But I didn't do any energy healing and I didn't do any meditations or anything like that. So I had a very normal life. I went to high school, then finished law. So I went through like a whole, studied law for quite a few years and mediation. And then I worked in real estate, and basically life itself was fine, but there was always something missing and I was looking for something more and I didn't really know what it was. And my belief was always, okay, it's going to be in this 3D reality. So when I finish school, I'm going to find that what I was looking for. So I was just looking for, there was a lack and I was looking for filling this. Couldn't find it. And the same was with law, like finishing the law university. Couldn't find what's filling the lack, and I did other stuff aside, like I played volleyball, I did CrossFit, went running, so on that level I was also looking kind of for filling this gap. And then I thought, okay, maybe it's in the job. So after university, and then I was working in real estate, and I also couldn't find it there. And then I just decided to say, okay, I'm going to take some time off, because it seems like I'm not finding it. The search was kind of bringing forward a bit of suffering as well, because when you're yearning for something and you can't really get it, even though life was unfolding in a nice way, I couldn't then see it like that anymore, The frustration was a bit too big. And then I stopped working for a little bit, and was looking. Then I found podcasts, I found like books for personal development, and I looked into this, and then I got a 10 guided meditation online program, and it was also more for motivation. So it was a guy coming from personal development, but also using meditations. He was working out in the gym as well, so a motivational guy. And there was this one specific meditation. It was just a very nice one, though, a very nice meditation, a heart-opening meditation, and I meditated. And I fell into this very, very deep place of where I totally dissolved. So the all sense of myself, of my body, of who Eva is, my life story, all my problems and everything that was there, everything was just gone. It was peaceful, very, very beautiful. Like, it was just the most amazing space to spend time, because it was so relaxing and so like freed. Like, I felt so liberated in that space. And this was the first time I had a spiritual experience, although I didn't even know that it was one at that time. I just thought, okay, that felt really good, and I want to have more of those experiences. And then I started to open up more into this area, meditation. This is when it all started.
Where did you grow? Where did you grow up?
I'm from Austria, and I grew up in Austria, so I'm still here and grew up here.
Nice. So that existential, I guess, curiosity, or maybe that void that your degree didn't fill in you, or your career. It's funny because here in the States, we also have that like existential anxiety of, we think that the materialistic world will fill that void for us. For me, it definitely happened for me. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think materialism doesn't fill that void?
Because nothing can fill that void. Like, nothing. It's not possible. When this void is there, also materialism can't fill it. Like, also going to the gym and getting fit and looking toned and stuff like that is not gonna change that, right? Or, I don't know, looking in a different way, getting I don't know, a new hair color or whatever. Like, whatever you do, I mean, there is maybe fulfillment for a short amount of time, but then the search is there again. It's an energy in our system. So it's like this aspiration for something more. And I think this is what's coming up. And then people are looking for something more, and then they find spirituality or meditation, so that they start looking within them and not like on the outside anymore. Because, before I was just looking on the outside. I was looking for fulfillment on the outside. I thought maybe I should travel more, for example, or something like that,
Did you travel more?
I was going to, but then it didn't happen. But this was the plan, basically. Before I found meditation, I thought, okay, maybe I just have to travel and explore the world, and maybe that's what's gonna fill this gap. But actually, meditation did. It did. Because the attention that was like outward, looking for the fulfillment, was then drawn inward, right? And there is a lot to explore. So there was also curiosity. So I have also curiosity in my system. It wasn't just suffering, basically, that I had. That what kept me going was also curiosity. I just wanted to explore and find out how things work and how the world is and stuff like that. And then with meditation, this curiosity was a very strong energy as well, because a whole new world opened up. And then I was curious, okay, what am I going to find there? And so this curiosity brought me forward on the path, or with meditation, very quickly. So the expansion happened quite quickly because of that.
It's funny how the void existential void essentially brought you to the void, the massive void, the universal void that
Yeah.
you experienced peace. How would you describe your suffering? Because a lot of people say suffering. You hear suffering, all over Buddhism and some of the spiritual teachers of the world. But like, can you describe what type of suffering you were experiencing?
Yeah, suffering for me is experiencing low vibrational emotions. So sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, shame, all these emotions, and they weigh very heavy on my system. And it's like a blanket of darkness a little bit. That's when I experience those emotions, then they are there, or when I used to at that time. It was like always this blanket of darkness over me, even though life experience wasn't like that, and then you see life through this blanket or through this lens of darkness, and things seem then sad or made me angry or fearful and so on. Just because these energies were there. So it was just suffering I see as having low vibrational emotions being present. Yeah.
So, ooh, low vibrational emotions. Did you identify with those emotions?
Yes. And
Yes.
I thought I'm a victim of life, and life apparently is not nice to me in that kind of way. And I was trying really hard, I was always trying really hard, giving everything I could to be to achieve whatever I wanted to achieve in the best possible way. But then I felt like there was no return. So I was also looking for a return. Like when I finished law, for example, so I wasn't really good at studying, but I pushed through it, even though it was very hard for me. And then I was looking for a return afterwards, but I couldn't get it. Like there was no return. Yeah.
So there was no trophy at the end of the journey for you that would satisfy that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because when you work hard for something, you kind of want to have results, right? And of course, I mean, when you go to the gym, you train, you become muscly, and you have these results, but then there must be also something like on the inside that makes you feel that this is an achievement, or this is something that you wanted and now it's here, or something that you preferred, right? So something must be filled then. So you do something to feel something. And that just didn't happen. Yeah.
Do you think we fall into that trap with spirituality too? Like the path of enlightenment, we're yearning for I guess relief of suffering. So we practice our meditations harder. We fast harder. We abstain harder in order to reach a certain enlightenment and expect some type of relief. So do you think we can fall into that trap as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think this is what starts this whole journey anyways. Like the ego wants to be liberated, or the small self wants to be enlightened. And this is like, the drive, which is very strong, and that's absolutely fine. I think it's also needed, because otherwise, you probably don't go there. Only like people who have those openings, they have experiences, of their true nature, and then it closes down and they kind of go and look for this. This is maybe different. But in my case, it was this drive I had before, which was very strong. So I was always very driven in what I did. Was the same with meditation. So I meditated daily. I went to retreats. I did other practices and so forth. So I'm an all-in person. So I put everything into this, hoping to find the freedom or the fulfillment I was looking for. And I thought, so just from what I learned, when I reach unity consciousness of becoming one with everything, then all my suffering will be gone. My life will be totally awesome, blissful. There won't be any problems anymore, and so forth. So this was what I thought. And I was working basically hard for it. So from that level, still I was working for it until this point was reached. And then I saw, okay, it's actually different than I thought. Yeah.
So is this what this unity consciousness, is this what I guess psychologists would describe as like a self-transcendent experience where there is no ego? Like, can you describe that a little bit? Like,
Okay, so I will describe how I experienced unity consciousness. So my understanding was I will be everything that exists, and I will become one with everything. So this was like the the intellectual understanding, I mean, I had no idea what it meant. But when it happened, so I'm just going to describe the experience as well, so that the listeners can get an understanding. So I did a meditation. So I knew I was approaching this unity consciousness because I was working towards it, and I knew I was very close. And then I was in a meditation, and I just saw, with my eyes closed, my skin flying off. And this was just metaphorically that the boundaries of the small self were dissolving, so they left. And suddenly I became one with everything. So the boundaries were gone. And then also I experienced, so I saw like a ball of light or of energy in the center of my chest. And this was the identification with Eva. So my whole life story and who I thought I was basically that ball of energy. And this was ripped out of my chest. So this was all gone. And then the ego was pulled into the background. So the ego is still, it's there, it's always going to be there, it's pulled in the background before it's in the forefront, and it claims to be this person and you know, everything that's here. And this was the experience, and it was a massive opening of my system, because also there is a mechanism that holds down all like emotions, traumatic experience, and so forth. So low vibration energies we have piled up in our system throughout our lifetime. You know, like you have an experience and you don't want to have anything to do with it, and you just push it away. So this is a possibility until it's not. So when I had this opening into unity consciousness, this possibility fell away, so this mechanism, and a lot of stuff just came up. So for a few weeks, I was like really going through suffering because there were so many low vibration energies coming through. I was so fearful. Because like how I looked outward from this vessel into life totally changed. How I saw everything. So I just saw pixels. I just saw energies everywhere. I was very sensitive, so I could feel beings in other dimensions, for example. I was very sensitive to foods, coffee, stuff like that. So just a lot happened in just one go. And the opening was, when you become one with everything, there's just clearing needs to happen of the system. So stuff that doesn't vibrate on the level of unity, I guess, needs to come out of the system. So I even felt depression, a lot of anxiety, and I was just very fearful because I felt like I messed up my life because I was looking for the bliss and the joy and the love, but it wasn't there at all. Like it was darkness because of all the stuff coming up. And the unity I thought is going to be nice, like it's going to feel nice. It didn't feel nice at all, because I was so used to, you know, we are always used to the small self, to the boundaries, to the limitation. And then suddenly everything is just openness. And this was very weird. It took about 2 months to integrate all this until I actually felt fine again. And then I felt in a state where I say, okay, now I want to move forward again. But for those 2 months, I was, messed up, basically. Yeah.
Would you recommend this path for everyone?
I mean, everybody who feels drawn to, and I also haven't really met any other people who has had this this major opening, I guess, with exactly that shift. And the shift was just an opening. Usually for people, it's more of a gradual unfolding. And so I'm working in this field, and I'm helping people to, for example, reach unity consciousness, but in a very different way. So when I do energy healings, I already open up the system, for example. I remove the boundaries for people, so the limitations between the small self and the capital S self, all that is. And so they can experience that already beforehand, before they reach this state. So it just feels familiar. The system just gets used to that, and then it's not a big deal. But for me, there was just this, you know, when something changes so quickly and the experience is so profound, but when it happens gradual and you kind of, you know, you get used to that over time already anyways, it's a lot easier and simpler. And also the energies I'm working with, so I'm transmitting energies, they look very much after the human aspect. And this is very important to me personally, because I didn't have that at that time. And now I really like that these energies look after the human. So they're very nurturing for the human as well. And they kind of carry the human through this whole journey. Everybody's journey is individual, though. It doesn't mean that unity is going to be there for everybody, or it's going to come up. Maybe some other openings, so these energies are pulling people towards their personal highest truth. This is basically how I call it, because everybody's different. Yeah.
Sure. So you said you conceptually understood what unity was, but you didn't fully understand it until you did experience it. Was it a disappointment when you got there to that unity consciousness? Like, did you have a self-realization moment? Did you remember who you were? Did you receive kind of like the codes of the universe, kind of, downloads that some people mention? Like, what did that look like?
I mean, with this opening, a lot of information is just there. It's just there, and you can access it. And at first, like for the first 2 months, it wasn't so nice, because I just felt
Sure.
a lot of stuff happening. But then I started working with a healer just like a few weeks after this opening, because I knew I needed some help, and I needed to clear my low vibrational stuff to see the unity. Because my experience was, that the unity was there maybe for a day or for a few hours, and then it closed down again, and I was basically caught in just a story. So there were emotions coming up because the system was open, so there was clearing happening all the time, and there are emotions coming up, and I didn't know what to do with them, and right away I projected them into my outward life. You kind of grab
Really?
them. But what you need to do is basically you need to allow to just flow them, let them flow through your system. So this is the way to go. But I just couldn't
So
do
you're
it
saying
back
system,
then.
you're saying these low vibrational energies were coming up. And are you talking about the central
My
nervous
own.
system?
Yeah. I mean, you can say, so when I talk about the system, it's always like the body and the energy bodies, and low vibrational energies are just emotions that are stored in our system. So let's say we had an experience as a child, we were really angry, and we couldn't fully move through this experience. So the anger got stuck in our system. So we weren't allowed to express it, for example. Very simple. It's just in there. And this happens over and over in all our lifetime. So all these energies are just in our system still. And then when this mechanism is in place where we can push them away, we might not even be aware of them. But when this mechanism is gone, they just come up. And the more you connect to high vibrational energies, which I did, because my path from the beginning on was always, I was connected to energy transmissions. This is also why this happened like fast and stuff. These energies are just being shown. So it's like I have a glass with water, and you put in oil, and the oil is just going to come up. The same thing here. You put in light, and the dark, no, it's not darkness, it's just low vibrational stuff. It's coming up. It's just energy,
Stuck
but when
energy.
stuck energy. And when you're not aware of how to deal with it, you just gotta, in my case, at least I just got caught in them. So I thought, okay, oh my God, I feel so, I don't know, depressed. I don't know what to do. And this was a mistake, because I should have just allowed this to move through, but I just didn't know better at the time. Anyways.
So great point.
Yeah.
Great point. How did you know that these energies were from the past, and how did you move through them?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it because I wasn't experiencing any reasons in the present moment to have this emotion. And I knew there was a clearing happening. This is like when you say there is an opening in the codes of the universe, you also start understanding how your system works and what's there. Like you have this knowing. So I knew it was energies from my system. I don't know when they got stuck though. And then I started to work with a healer, and she helped me to clear like past life influences, and also from this lifetime and stuff like that. So just low vibrational energies made me feel a lot better. And then I found a technique that helped to clear samskaras. So samskaras is basically the same thing as these stuck energies. And I did it for 6 months. It was a combination of visualization, breath work, and also energy transmission. And it was basically there to raise the collective consciousness, but also at the same time, it helps to clear the vessel, the body. And by doing that, you kind of push these things up. you just push them up. So every other day I was like again stuck in one of these low vibrational energies, and they were just there. Like there is sunshine in the 1 minute, and then you're like in the full rain and cloudy weather the next minute, because something is coming up, and then you just push through it until it leaves, and then it's sunny again. It happens so quickly, you know. But I knew that this is happening, so it wasn't a problem then anymore. So I decided to go through that, because I felt the need to really heal and clear my system, to have the unity there all the time, because it was veiled. So every now and then it was veiled because of these energies coming up. And I just knew, okay, I want to clear my system, that I have the unity experience. And after a few months, like the unity experience became really nice when it was there. You know, there is a lot more freedom. You're not identified with stuff that's happening on the outside. Then there's bliss there, constant bliss. You know, you have access to more light. It was very enjoyable. And just knowing you're not the small self, so the Eva and her life story is so, you know, it's so freeing. Yeah.
It's beautiful. How do you know you're in that unity consciousness, right? Like people listening to this, because they're on their spiritual path. You said there were markers almost that were like letting you know or notifying you that you were getting close to this. Like, what are those markers? And then how do you know that you're there if you haven't experienced that before?
So I was working with somebody who measured basically where I was at. So there was like a path, I guess, and with numbers, and it's you can measure this with
A map, almost a map.
Yeah, a map, right, a map. So so the map, and I also knew that there are certain levels of consciousness. So the ones I got to know was, so I'm just going to name them,
Sure.
Self-realization, God consciousness, then unity consciousness, and then Brahman, and then pure divinity. So this was the roadmap, and I just followed that, because at that time I didn't really know any other roadmap. So I thought this is the one, and I also didn't really look into other teachings or anything. I found this meditation group, and it was just, this map was taught there, or not so much taught, but that this was basically just the map of the group, and I just followed that, and it worked out fine, because I was receiving energy transmissions, and these energies were helping to move forward on that path and reach these points. And unity, yeah, I mean, we can always just point with words, but this is how I described it before. So everything is just one. So there are different ways to look at it. Either you look at it, everything is just one, or you are everything. There are two ways. So
Sure.
you're part of the one, or you are everything.
Interesting.
And then when sorry?
No, I was just going to say, I didn't realize that there was, if you're going to go towards a map, or just words to label the different levels, you said there was God consciousness, unity consciousness, and then Brahman consciousness. I would have assumed that God consciousness is the highest. Now, how come God is lower? Not on the map, right? Like, not, I don't know. I'm just using that as a pointer here, but I would assume that God consciousness is probably the highest consciousness, right? Like, so why is there a difference between God and unity? And then can you explain what Brahman is?
Yeah. Okay, so God consciousness, when you are in self-realization and unity consciousness, there is still the individual there, the small self. Did I just say this right? So self-realization and then God consciousness, the small self. And in God consciousness, the small self is experiencing God in everything. So I had openings. So when I was out in nature, hiking, running, going for walks, I had these beautiful openings where it felt like there was just like a door opening up in front of my eyes. And then everything was like golden underlaid. It was blissful. I saw energy everywhere. You know, I experienced the bliss. Everything was bliss. It was just golden. It was very, very amazing experiences, but it was just an experience for a certain amount of time. And in those experiences also, like, I didn't see the small self, my life story, like all was gone. It was just these beautiful openings, and they were there 10, 20 minutes. The longest one I had was for about 2 hours. And it's a phase. It's a phase, and it's just called God consciousness, because You realize God in everything, but this is the individual. And in unity, the individual falls away. The small self falls away. And then Brahman is very different. So Brahman, in unity, you are in creation and you are everything. And then Brahman is when you step beyond creation. So you step outside of creation so at first into the nothingness. There's nothing there. Brahman is totally empty. So it's a very weird experience at first because there is nobody there anymore. Like there's nothing there. In unity, there was like somebody was the one, or the one was at least experienced. And then in Brahman, this is all gone. This is all just gone. There's nothing. It's basically a big void. Also, like how I experienced it personally, it's easier to talk about this. Like, how did I experience it? I didn't have any emotions for that time when I was there. So no emotions at all. No low vibration, no high vibration. I couldn't have emotions at all. Didn't work. Also no love, which was the one I was missing the most, to the human love. So no joy, no bliss. Then it felt like I was constantly, so I was part of this world because of course I was living in it, but I wasn't part of it. I was always looking from the outside into creation. And everything I was looking at, it was there. And when I looked away, it was totally gone. It's like it dissolved, it collapsed. So everything I looked at was my creation. I created this when I looked at it. And again, when I looked away, it was gone. Same was with relatives, family, friends, buildings, whatever it was. So, and there's also no sense of anything else anymore. So you can, distinguish between you and, let's say, an item or a person or something like that. And this sense totally falls away. Like there's no sense of anything else, there's no sense. Then also I felt like I was in a very deep meditation, like 24/7. I was so far away from this reality. So from this human reality, you're totally disconnected from the human. So when I had a conversation with somebody, it felt like I had to come out like from a very deep meditation, talk to you, then suddenly I was sucked back into that deep meditation and then come back and so forth. It was a very, let's say, a very weird experience. But at the same time, I knew it's going to come up, and I knew people who were there before, and they said, okay, it might not be the most amazing experience you have, because coming from unity and all the bliss and, everything is one, and which I experienced then in the end, but because unity, all these states need some time to integrate. So you're not just there and then that's it. It takes months and years, and always depending on your nervous system and where you're at on your journey, how integrated this is. And then it gets more refined, and then it also, the experience of it is better. Yeah, and then in Brahman, there was then this point where, I didn't know if it's gonna end or what's gonna come next. Really, I knew it's gonna have an end. And then there was just this day where I thought, okay, I have enough of this nothingness, of the emptiness, because it's really like there's just nothing there. You have an experience of nothing all the time. And then I decided I'm not a use for anybody in my life anymore, like my family and friends. I withdrew from them more and stuff like that as well. And then I decided, okay, I just want to come back. I want to come back and have this human experience again. And then basically from that moment on, it started. So aspects of the human experience started to come back in. So the emotions slowly, though, took a few months until they were fully there again, until I could feel emotions again, until the bliss was there again. But the bliss was different. So everything changed. So nothing was like before. So the bliss of existence is there. Am I still there? It's just the bliss for the fact that I exist. So it's not ecstatic bliss, or it's not like, love and joy and, what sometimes is known as bliss as well, like this ecstatic. It's very subtle, but it's there all the time. And also the love came back, but just different. It's unconditional love. So there is exactly the same love for everybody. Before, it was distinguishing. Yeah, and also this energy work started to come in with that. So the energy transmission, and then I started working with people and transmitting the state of Brahman to people. Yeah, this is when
Really? So you can
this
transmit that
started.
state to people?
Yeah. It's now part of my transmission. The transmission contains a lot more, but it's also part. Yeah.
It's kind of depressing, right? Like if you get to the highest state of consciousness or energy level and it's just emptiness, like that seems kind of depressing if that's it, right?
Yeah, but it's you are fully liberated from all human life and human experience. And I mean, it's not the worst place to be, because being a human and entangled in all the human problems and in life, and it's hard,
So
and
from
having
that
all these
vantage point,
emotions.
yeah, from that vantage point, you can see yourself as the creator of it all. Is that how I heard you?
Yeah, I mean, you are then everything. I mean, we have different layers of being. So we are the human, then we are the unity, and we are the Brahman. We are everything that exists, like so in creation, outside of creation. But I mean, right now, so after a while, this just integrates again, and then you don't really have a distinct experience of all these different layers anymore. It just becomes like a constant state, and this never changes. So this, on a consciousness level, this has been the same now for a while, and it's not going to change. So it always stays the same.
Was there
What
fear
changes
at all?
in Brahman? No, because there is no fear.
Well, I mean, like the fear of ego annihilation, like the sense of
Oh yeah, this
I'm
was
going
so.
to be
I
annihilated.
experienced this. Yes, I experienced this in unity. So this was when the ego stepped into the background, because so how I see this energetically is the ego is constantly fed with energies. We reinforce that we are the ego. So we are the ones that are actually holding this in place in the forefront. And then with the unity, this energy, this feeding of energy falls away, because you're not that anymore. You just know that. And then the ego gets the panic and it's like, oh my God, I'm not in the forefront anymore. I'm dying, because this is what the ego does. And don't think it's dying. It's the survival mode. And then there was a lot of fear. Yes, a lot of fear of dying. Yeah, there was. But then I had a few days experiences of, like, I felt I was like, when you fall and there is no ground underneath you and there's a constant fall, like this is how I felt, like I'm and like slowly dying in that kind of way. So somebody ripped a carpet underneath my feet, and I was just free falling all the time and into death. This is how it felt. Yeah. But I mean,
So
looking back, it's no big deal at all. It's just part of the experience, and it's good that it's there, because then But when you're in there, when you are in that moment and in that story, it's different.
sure.
Yeah, it's
And this is all just based off this happened from a meditation, online meditation.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is what started me meditating. Yes, but I
So this
then joined
happened,
a
this
meditation
experience
group.
happened inside of a meditation that you were using?
Yeah. But so after I had found this online program with this specific meditation I did with the first experience I shared, I joined a meditation group, and I meditated every day with a spiritual transmission. And also, like, it was all online. So on Zoom, we met like twice a week on Zoom. And then I also did YouTube videos, and I meditated with people who transmitted spiritual energies just online, and I was receiving it every day. Yeah.
Have you ever done psychedelics?
No.
No. I just want,
No.
I'm curious to if psychedelic, I've been researching just what the effects are. I'm a psychology student currently and finishing up my degree. And so psychedelics are kind of making their way back into our world a bit with the therapies that psychedelic assisted therapies, what they can provide for people that have strong anxieties or PTSD or addictions. So I'm curious to whether that, psychedelics shed the ego. Like I've read a lot of, and I've listened to a lot of case studies that explain kind of similarities in your story of, shedding the veil and seeing, the void and things of that nature. I haven't personally done it, but it's just interesting to me that we have like this veil that covers different dimensions, different states of consciousness, different states of being, the void, all the things. And then we personally like associate our story to this persona, like this awareness, I guess. I tie the tray with this awareness. So when the ego dies, or not dies, I shouldn't say that, when there is the shedding of the ego, and you're into unity or you're into Brahman, is there still an awareness?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot more that needs to change in the system than just the ego going into the background. I mean, there is a lot more. There is still the identification. So even though the ego is in the background, so it's just a survival mode, we still are identified with everything. So this is still happening. This is also another mechanism that breaks down over time, identifying with everything that's happening, so that before we take life personal, I am living life, and then it's like life is living through me. That's the difference. And this is also a mechanism that falls away. And I'm definitely sure that with psychedelics or some other, people do all sorts of stuff, you can have these openings and then these recognitions. I mean, I've talked to people, they took some sort of drugs, not just psychedelics, to have these openings. Then you have this opening, then you have these realizations, and you kind of bring them back into your human life experience. And then you can go from there, like you go and look for it, or at least it's possible. So you see yourself totally different, in a different way. And then, of course, healing can happen. So when I talk about healing, it's clearing the system from low vibration energies, from everything that's not of your highest truth. So everything that holds you small, that holds you down, that holds you back, basically.
I love it.
Because it's not needed. We don't need...
Can you access those states of consciousness, like whenever you want?
No. This is gone now. I used to be able to, to kind of, I mean, not even, no, I mean, it's not that I can't access them, but like when people share about them, I know what they're talking about. And in my energy work, because I transmit energies, and then also I get messages, or I have scenes what the energy wants me to do, and then I work on people's system. And for example, yesterday I did a meditation where I guided people into the unity. So they were experiencing the unity in that meditation. Their system was, so they were full unified with everything. So I can do it in, while I do this healing work or this meditation, this guided meditation yesterday. But now, no, I can't access any other states. No, it doesn't work anymore.
So I'm going to throw you a hard question here. So what's the purpose of coming here, right? Like, why are we here on this planet in this time, experiencing this right now?
Yeah, to experience this right now. That's all. Honestly, there's nothing else to it. It's really just going through life experience.
So why is there so much fear around like 2025, politics, AI, soul traps, prison planets, all the things, the conspiracies, all of that?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, why is there fear? That's the problem. The fear is the problem, because if there wouldn't be any fear, there would be probably curiosity, or there wouldn't be such events, because we are creating our own reality, and we are creating these things collectively. And also it's a healing and clearing process, because what I see from my work, so what I can share from my work is, because I also started working on the collective level a bit more, I bring these high vibrational energies onto the collective, and so that the collective consciousness can raise, but at the same time it's happening on the collective as in the individual. Healing and clearing needs to happen. Where is light, there is darkness. And so when there is a lot of light, darkness comes up, and it manifests in various different ways. People do a lot of things because of fear. They build weapons, they build bunkers, I don't know, walls, whatever. And this is just a manifestation of their fear, or other low vibration energies, and it's just brought up in people. And what people can do is really work on their system, because when you heal and clear your system, you clear your fear and all these energies that are resonance to fear. You won't have this experience in your life anymore, like not within and not on the outside. It's not like that, but I'm going to use these words so that people understand. It's like you live in a different version of Earth, you know, although we are all on the same, but just how you experience it is different.
Well,
So
how
it
does
really
one
it
create the
depends on where you
reality,
come
right?
from.
Like, I feel like we all kind of create it through our beliefs. Like, are we creating like, is there a fixated future, or is it in like superposition where it's ready to in waiting for us to collapse it? If that makes sense. Like, is it like, do I have a destiny? Do I have, I mean, or is it in every moment, every choice is changing that future timeline?
I mean, how I see this is we come here, we have a certain tasks and certain learnings. Okay, so we have a little bit of karma. Some people have a bit more, some people have a smaller amount, you know. So we kind of have to live through that. And the rest really depends on, so there is a small part that's free will. But on the other hand, not, because we have a lot of conditioning, of course. You know, we learn from society, from parents, and all how things need to be, and so forth. So we are limited by that as well, and then also by these energies that pile up throughout our lifetime. So the low vibration energies I'm talking about, and so we kind of we have this amazing potential. So everybody has an amazing amount of the potential, but the question is, can we actually see it or access it? Because mostly we can't, because we're so caught up in like all the conditioning and also thoughts. They're part of it, you know, but they're just part of it. And these low vibration energies, so in these energy patterns, they're just playing out like a habit, you know, they just play out. So let's say when you get triggered, you know, because of something, you get triggered over and over again until you actually look, why am I being triggered? Like, what is actually coming up, and what is in me that, you know, brings these emotions up in my system? And this is what healing is all about, is just looking, okay, what is bringing up the fear? Like, what am I fearing? You know, and then in the end, it's really, what do I experience in the present moment in my everyday life? So not what others are experiencing, because we're all incarnating for different reasons, for different experiences in different areas of the world. And we're incarnating, you know, as the two of us, for example, we have our daily life experience, and this is what it's all about. And this is where our consciousness reflects to us, our also inner state. It has nothing to do with other people.
So the people
So
that are the things, the emotions, the thoughts, are being, I'm projecting that inner state into my outer reality almost. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes,
So like my relationships, close relationships, when I experience maybe my wife or my kids acting a certain way that triggers me, does that mean that that's inside of me, that I'm experiencing it, I'm projecting that out, and that's why I'm experiencing it into my external?
yes,
What
always.
what about so how do you, I guess, how do you work through that? You know, like I always wondered that. Like, how do I clear that out?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm helping people with.
That's what
Uh,
I do.
this is what I do. Yeah, so I basically help to heal and clear those energies out of people's system, so that first of all, there is more space, there's more neutrality, and then there is more inner peace. So all these low vibration energies, that makes the system like full. There's a lot going on. There is just a lot going on. And the more the system heals and clears, there is more silence, more quiet space, more inner peace. And then you don't react to things that you would have reacted before in that triggered way. Like, you see the situation for what it is, and then you just act on it. So there is like no emotional turmoil around it, because the emotions are the problem. They're not the problem just when they are triggered, because when the system is fairly healed and cleared, and this is also a side effect of this awakening process, like there is no past and future, it falls away, like you don't have an experience of it anymore. There's only the experience of the present moment constantly. So there are emotions in the present moment, you know, they can come up because of daily life experience, but then when this specific experience is over, they're leaving the system completely. So you could be annoyed because something is happening, and then a minute later it's like it's totally gone, and you have never experienced the annoyance, where usually you are annoyed, and then there is like this after vibration of the annoyance for quite a few hours, and then you think about it, and you kind of still feel the tension in the body, and maybe you even carry this, you know, through your day and the next day and so forth. And when the system is fairly healed and cleared and opened up, is the emotions are just flowing through in the present moment. Could be also joy, could be love, could be whatever. You experience it and then they're fully gone. And then you're back to neutral until another emotion is coming up and so on. But most of the time it's a very neutral space, which is very nice, very peaceful. And the bliss of existence is there all the time. So yeah. And this is what I basically discovered, that the human system can work in a more optimum way. And this is what my work is also doing, is just optimizing the way how the system works, because most systems are very closed down. So they're resisting life, and life is flowing through us. So this is the purpose of this incarnation, is experiencing life. So life is flowing through us constantly, and it's about us to experience it. And if people don't want certain things, they say, no, I don't want this, and they close down. So there's resistance, and then they keep the energy of resistance in the system, and they can keep that for quite some time, and this is what starts to cause the suffering. Like they resist life. But what we want to have an open system that life energy can flow through, and we just go with whatever comes up. So it's just a flowing through life. It's more effortless. Life gets more effortless and a lot more simple, because there is nothing, no grabbing of energies in the system. I want it this way, I want it that way, I want it my way, I want things to be different. But there's just a full surrender and a full acceptance how things are. Of course, you have your free will. You can, do things however you want them. But when there are things that are just happening, there's also at the same time full surrender. Okay, it's just how it is. There could be annoyance about it, anger about it, whatever. But it's like only in the present moment, and then it's gone, and then it's like you move on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just move on. So it's very, because I always wonder, how do these teachings help me live here? Like, how do they help me walk through life, this reality? I mean, I've really gotten into Gnosticism, of just researching ancient texts or literature, and listening to people, professors, PhDs, on their thoughts or their training on biblical texts and their interpretations of ancient teachings. And so, like, the Gnostics have their belief system, and which is fascinating to me, because it always comes, because there's a lot of people going around talking about like we are in some type of, like, reincarnation is a trap, essentially, right? Like that there's a different power or being that is like capturing us and keeping us here on planet Earth, that is sucking our energy, essentially. And then there's just this totally different thought system of the light worker, right? Like, of, I am everything and everything is me, and I'm here to help, I guess, eliminate suffering. And to your point about helping others relieve some of those lower energy frequencies. So I always wonder about, what is the truth, right? Like, how do we find the truth? Is it subjective truth? Like, is that true for someone, or is that the macro truth of, like, yes, there is actually a demiurge that has created this illusion that we live in, and Christ is the snake in the Garden of Eden, and actually liberated us from that with knowledge and wisdom. Does any of this make sense? Like, I'm going down a rabbit hole right now.
Yeah. I totally know what you mean. And I think truth is very subjective, as you said. And how I see it, I offer a transmission of the highest truth. So the transmission of the highest truth contains everything in creation. And when you're connected to that, like, you can be connected 24/7, it comes into your system all the time, and it works on your system, and it starts eliminating those energies that are not of the highest truth, that way of living that is not of your highest truth. So it starts eliminating all of that, and it pulls you towards your personal highest truth. And this is what I can share, the ultimate truth, because everything else is just intellectual conceptualization of stuff that we can't grasp with our mind. It's beyond the mind. So everything I do is beyond the mind, is only experiential. I share it, of course. I talk about it in the way I can, which is also very limiting. But this is why I really like working with energies, because they have a higher intelligence, and they can help us to change our way of being and living if we want that. And then everybody's individual, so always depending on how many incarnations have you had already, like what's the story for your lifetime? Like, is it going to be awakening or spirituality, or it's maybe exploration of family life, of job, or of something very low vibrational. It also depends on that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there is no like manifested highest truth. There is just, you can move towards your personal highest truth, and then it manifests, but it's always a personal experience. Like there is no collective one. Yes, there are the energies and all these layers, but like for the individual experience, I mean. So we talk
What
about the
about
individual
yeah,
experience.
Well, what is your take on, like, because I'm in the US, I'm on the East Coast, and we're experiencing like drone-like objects in the sky, and a lot of people are really hot on this UAP topic, right? So like extraterrestrial civilizations or interdimensional societies. Like you said that you saw different dimensions, and I just, now I'm just kind of nerding out on these topics that I'd like to talk, to discuss. But is that a part of that subjective truth? Like if it is in your belief systems, like you have the capacity because you are a conscious creator to create those.
Yes, because I mean, I, for example, see energies and they have information. And then there are people who see, for example, an extraterrestrial in this energy because this is their belief system, or this is what they're looking for. Or other people see angels or demons or whatever they want to see, but in the end, it's just energy, and energy is information. So yes, for some people, they definitely exist, in their reality, they definitely exist. And it's, in my reality, there is just energies with information. And then in other people's realities, there is other stuff. So this, yeah, definitely. I mean,
So
I have never, like, I don't see beings because this is not how my system works, but I know people who see, there is a light, and this is, like lights have certain qualities. For example, the Divine Mother is like one I'm working with a lot, and she has this motherly, is some very motherly energy, very nurturing for the human. It's like when you sit in that light, it's like you are in the blanket of your mother, and it's just love and light and warmth and clouds and stuff, like very beautiful. And this is just the energy that has all these qualities, and there are other energies with other qualities and other information, and and this is what people experience, and then they give it a name, or even like some of them see it, maybe some with the eyes open, some with eyes closed. It really depends on their capacity.
sure,
Yeah.
I think the Gnostics may call that Sophia and the mother. Now, are like, and Jung would call them archetypes. The Mandela, like the archetypes of all all of it, all of consciousness has archetypes. Now, are these energies, are they sentient? Are they like sovereign?
Okay, you have to help me out here with the word sentient and sovereign, because
Like they
I'm
have
not
their
sure
own
if I was.
awareness, like they have their own consciousness, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, in my experience, the ones I'm working with, yes. So definitely, they have their own agenda and their own thing going on, basically. And when I channel them, so I'm of course just channeling them, they're coming in, and then I have an intention why I want them to come in. Like I have a specific intention why I want them, and then they come in for that purpose, and only those energies.
Who do you channel? I didn't know you channeled.
Yeah, I mean, this is, so when I say I transmit energies, I basically call it also channeling energies, because it's not me doing that. It's really, I just open up the space and they are coming through. And I call it's the transmission of the highest truth, and it contains a lot of different energies, a lot of different ones, and they are mostly, so the ones I've worked with right now, because there are so many, are for awakening, so to these levels of consciousness, and healing and clearing the human system. So those are the ones I'm using the most, and they're all very high vibrational divine energies, and they feel really great. I mean, do you feel energies at all? Is this something you can feel?
I think I do. I'm noticing more of. I know when I'm not connected to something, I feel like more of the depressive energies, lower frequency energies come in. But when I feel like I am connected, I feel different. I feel almost like a fire in the heart. Almost. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay. If you're curious, we could do like a little 10,
Let's do it.
10 minutes meditation, and then you can just get a feel of it. Maybe you can feel it.
Let's do it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So what you can do is just close your eyes and be very relaxed. And I just need to, like a half a minute to open up the space. And then I share what I'm doing. And so for everybody who's listening, like whatever you're doing, it doesn't really matter. Like it just, either you can close your eyes, or if not, that's fine as well. Okay. Okay, I start with opening up the energy field. Bring in light. Then I expand the energy field. So the energy field can always be more expanded, and we can always hold more light in our system. And also more awareness comes with that as well. So I'm expanding. And then I fill up the expanded space with light. Then I clear surface energies. So surface energies are all sorts of energies that are floating around the top of your system. So emotions and energies you've been exposed to over the past 1 or 2 days. And I'm clearing them because they're on the surface and they're making the noise. And behind this noise is just this beautiful silent space, which is very peaceful and very enjoyable. And at the same time, where I'm clearing this, the body is relaxing more and more because it really enjoys the light and enjoys that I'm clearing those energies that are also like bugging the body a little bit. So I'm clearing, still clearing surface energies. Then I also clear thoughts out of the mind. Thoughts are also just energy. We don't need to have thoughts. We can totally navigate through life without having thoughts. So I'm clearing thoughts. And at the same time, there's a lot of light coming in because there is more space. So there's light flowing in through the crown chakra and third eye chakra into the body now, also into the energy bodies. And I open up the body even more, the energy bodies, so that more light can enter. Bring more light in. Yeah, and then I clear out of the heart chakra. So heart chakra is always identification, and they're just energies I'm going to clear. Like most of the ones are self-protective energies that are they're protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself from things that coming from seemingly the outside. So dangerous experiences or fearful experiences, or concerning. So I'm concerned. I rather close down. It feels more safe. So I clear those energies. I feel safe when I'm more closed down and not open. So I clear those energies right away. There's so much more light entering. The heart is already opened up a little bit more. Then I clear root chakra. I clear fear out of the root chakra, fear and concerns. So just the energies, fear and concerns. So I clear those energies of the future, fear of the future. Then second chakra, resistance to life and how life is unfolding. Clear resistance. Then in general, I clear out of the system energies of insecurity and being unsure about things. Clear those energies. Again, heart chakra. I prefer security. Clear this energy. I prefer security and I prefer the known. And this is like the big difference. So there could be like on the intellectual level, there could be curiosity and looking for something and reading and listening to information and so forth. But when the system is not open to actually experience this as well, then it's only a smaller part of our system that gets the information, so it's the intellect. But what really should get the information is the system, like opening up the system and getting this information, because then we can live from there. So when the mind gets an information, we can't live from there, but when the system gets the information, we can live from there. And this is what's happening right now. So there's a lot of light coming in, very high vibrational, beautiful divine light. With the energy of trust. So trust is coming in right now. Trust to open up more. Also trust to see the world from different perspectives. Trust for that, to open up towards that. More relaxation is coming in. There's a lot of light working on the third eye chakra, which also helps to open up to what is also there. So it helps to be more aware. And what I mean is opening up to anything really, like it could be which dimensions are there, which levels of consciousness are there, but also at the same time, like how does my system work? How do the energies move through my system and stuff like that. So just in general, more awareness. And this is going to be different for everybody where this is opening up, or which direction, in which area. So the energy of comfort is coming in, comforting the system and the body so that it just feels very comfortable. And now there's also joy coming in, just the energy of joy. It's a very high vibration energy and a very beautiful one to move through life with, just with this energy of joy present. Life experience is totally different from the place of joy, for example, from that vibration versus from fear or another lower vibrational energy. So I bring in joy. And I also fill up the heart chakra with unconditional love. And through the heart chakra, the whole system. Okay, let's sit with this for a moment. And then we can come back. Okay.
Definitely feel lighter.
Yeah.
For sure. So you're not doing that.
No, I mean the energies are coming in. I'm just what I do is I share what I see and I direct the energy with my hands. I direct it with intention, but I just use my hands replacing.
So the words that you're saying, all the things that you're saying, is that a script that you use every time, or is that something that you're being led to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that so for example, how I started, so I always start in the same way. So this is just the way I basically open up the session, because usually meditations are longer and, like 20, 30, 50, sure. 70 minutes. So in the beginning, until I did like the clearing of the surface energies, I do this every time, and then I just see what comes in. And then this is very depending on the person or the intention I had before. This changes then every time. So there's no session that's the same. They've all been very different.
Well, because I can relate very highly with what the words they were saying, about the comfort and taking a chance and fear and all the things, right? So I'm very glad that I reached out, by the way. I'm glad that your marketing people sent me 1,000 commercials or advertisements.
Yeah, I'm glad he did too.
How can people reach you?
So I have 2 websites. One is em-healing.com. This is where you find information about specifically the healing work. Then I have one, nextelevations.com, and this is where you find the transmission I was talking about before, the constant one, that the transmission of the highest truth you can connect with. It's actually very fascinating. You can basically just be connected to the transmission through the website. I programmed the energy that way so that it comes in for you all the time. It's basically you are in a meditation 24/7, so it's quite convenient. Those are the two websites, and my YouTube channel is em-healing.com, and also Next Elevations without the .com. Yeah. So these are the YouTube channels, and there are many guided meditations, there are talks, there are interviews, and I also offer a free meditation, which is on every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central European Time, and this must be, I think, 2 o'clock, but I'm not 100% sure, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. People find it on my website. I think it's in your afternoon, and there is like a half an hour talk. People like ask questions and stuff. And then I do a 50-minute guided meditation. And it's always very powerful because it's a powerful group. There are so many people who are very far on the journey and have done a lot of work. So the energy is always very strong. And everybody's very welcome to join. So you find the infos on my website as well, the emhealing.com website. Yeah.
I love it. Eva, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me and for asking those amazing questions. So thank you.